A political party. He is not a candidate, but is a voter entitled to participate in elections and to present a petition. The obligation, legally speaking, is on IEBC to provide a free, fair, and verifiable election. There is no obligation on a voter like Hele Khalifa to hire and recruit agents all over the country to watch how the elections are conducted. If you do so, then you will forever relegate the participation of the people of Kenya in a free and fair election to the ability to hire and deploy over 46,000 agents in all the polling stations to watch over their vote and the votes of others. The question was raised by Mr. Ngatia, that election officials are tired, they need to go back to work. Convenience again. I say this. Our constitutional values and provisions should not be sacrificed at the altar of convenience. If the election officials are tired and cannot do another election, please, we have more Kenyans who are willing to do this work properly. Give them that opportunity. And that ties to the point that was said that Kenyans cannot be in elections in perpetuity. Kenyans must get it right. And I say this with due respect to this honorable court, that the Supreme Court has a higher obligation when it comes to this issue, to ensure that we get what we call regime legitimacy. In countries like DRC, once a presidential election is concluded, it goes to their Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court, to get a validation, regime legitimacy. That is what HELEF is questioning here. In a fractious society, highly political like this, just remove that, highly political like this, a Supreme Court decision gives regime legitimacy to that new regime. And when questions are raised like we've done, then the Supreme Court, and when you consider the margin by which the purported declared winner has surpassed the victory, that legitimacy should not be granted by this court at this point. I want to address a few questions that were asked by the learned judges. Number one, by Justice Ibrahim, is there a lacuna in the law if we nullify, in God's grace, these elections? And, if we indict Wafula Chebukati? The answer is very simple. Article 142 of the Constitution, the president who is in office shall continue in office until a new one is sworn in. There is no lacuna in the law. The second point, Mr. Chebukati is not immortal. He could even resign from his office. Does it mean that this country can collapse if Mr. Chebukati resigned from his office today? No. Elections will still be held. We'll still have within our governance, we have a working parliament, we have a national executive, we have a judiciary. All these questions, all these issues can be addressed within those existing parameters. And when I say the president will continue in office, of course, within a narrowed mandate, but the systems and the functions of government will continue. The lacuna will not affect the people of Kenya. The right thing is to make sure that the people's voices are actually heard in a true, transparent election. My learned Chief Justice asked the question, why it took too long, why the commission did not announce the results from morning. To corroborate that there was actually peace at Bomas, we had a choir singing the whole night and the whole day. If there was violence as was being presented here at 3 p.m., what stopped them from announcing at night? Those remaining polling stations, constituencies. What stopped them from announcing those constituencies in the morning? The choir is my witness. They were singing, there was peace, and everybody saw that. The other question that was asked by learned Justice, Deputy Chief Justice, about a dysfunctional commission, I wish to say this. The dysfunctionality of the commission has always been there. But it has been brought to us by what I call a celebrated group in this constitution. In 2007, Kipkirui, an individual clerk, came out and told us what is happening at KICC is cooking. In 2017, Roslyn Akombe came out and said, what is happening at IBC is not being done in compliance with the orders of this court. And she ran away, she fled this country. In 2022, you now have the commission itself, by a majority of its members, coming out to tell Kenyans that what is being announced are not the product of the commission. Should those commissioners be vilified? Should a commission that has made an admission of a failure of Tier 3 be vilified? I say no. That dysfunctionality should actually now prove to you that indeed the Constitution is working. On the question that I wish the court to consider, what would have happened if we didn't have this court? In 2007, we didn't have this court. And those who had been said to have lost the elections didn't want to go to court when they were asked to go to court. Because to serve a president was almost impossible. The hearing of the petition will have taken forever, even 5 years, the entire term. This court should not leave Kenyans in a way that they start questioning themselves, do we still have an avenue through which we can solve these political questions? That is a core function of this court. If the court fails to stand up to occasion, the ramifications on the people of Kenya will be dire because people end up losing trust. So I urge you that do not err on the side of convenience to tell the people of Kenya that when we can see some of these problems, convenience requires that Chebukati cannot conduct an election within 60 days. Let us not upset the elections. It will erode public confidence in this particular court, which will be catastrophic as we witnessed in the year 2007. Tied to the commissioners, there are affidavits, and I believe the commission will talk about them. In their reply, the majority commissioners in their replying affidavits have already, we must point out, number one, that these commissioners have been in office for less than 1 year. September marks their first year in office. Within that 1 year, they've filed they've written 3 memos on the conduct of the chair unilaterally making decisions. Ultimately coming out on the 15th to tell Kenyans what they had been dealing with internally of a unilateral, arbitrary, all-knowing chairman. And I say this as I conclude, my lords and my ladies. When an alligator comes out of the water and tells you that the crocodile is sick, do you doubt him? When the commissioners come out and tell you that our processes are opaque, our processes are not as per the Constitution, do you doubt them? I urge you, don't doubt them. We pray, my lords and my ladies, that you allow the petition as prayed and grant the orders which are sought, and don't shy away if you find it necessary to indict Mr. Wafula Chebukati for the transgressions and the singular manner in which he has run the IEBC to the detriment of Kenyans. Thank you very much, my lady. I yield today 13 minutes of my time back to court. 13 seconds.
Thank you. Counsel representing the 5th petitioner, David Kariuki-Ngare. 15 minutes.
Your Lordship, the Chief Justice, Deputy Chief Justice, members of the court, may it please you that my name is Mamboleo